Cable 10, Aurora, Illinois Community Access Channel.
Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
Your life is your own, Carol.
Guys,
We are here for you, Carol.
where are we?
Well, if there's a bright center to the universe, you're on the planet that it's farthest from.
Welcome to the Outer Rim. Enjoy your stay.
We're sorry we upset you, Carol.
But the real question is, got milk, Carol? Well, at least that's the thing we're jumping into today, yeah?
Yeah, nobody's got milk though, apparently.
No,
There is
that's
no milk
true.
in the milk. Hey, yeah. Welcome back everybody to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun. Right over there. Right.
Hey, Darrin
Well-
Jaques from D's Reviews, and I don't know, I mentioned to Rob, my dogs are going nuts in the background, so if you are hearing dog cries, that's just them. Hopefully it's not getting picked up.
I don't hear it, so hopefully I don't know. It's pretty, we're waiting for snow, so
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna pick up windy wise. It can get pretty windy back here, but I think we're good. Just in time too for this Thanksgiving weekend to, I don't know, is it starting? It's Black Friday today, right?
Yeah. Black Friday today, small business Saturday tomorrow, then Cyber Monday the next day, then Taco Tuesday always. I'm not sure how these things break down anymore.
I know that we just released the traditions video on the Outer Rim podcast. Go check that channel out.
Yeah.
But to me, this just didn't feel like anything, and I don't mean like just the vibe. Not to like this is just our normal conversation. We're getting to it, folks. But like it just didn't really click that there was a holiday that happened. Not really.
Yeah, not having that feeling in the air. I don't know if people are run ragged. I don't know if people are stretched thin. I don't know what, but yeah, it has not felt very seasonal. I'm really curious what the dreaded Christmas season is going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, people were buying stuff. People
Oh,
were
yeah.
doing stuff. It just was low key.
Yeah,
It
we had
felt
turkey,
more like-
but that's it.
Yeah. It was just kind of, this is what we do. Here we go. Half of our family's probably not going to be over again this year. But the Christmas music started today.
Oh,
And
no.
honestly, it was like, I didn't even notice it because it was just, you don't feel it. It just doesn't, it doesn't feel like that we're approaching anything that we're supposed to, people are supposed to look forward to or whatever. But you know what we do look forward to though is talking about Pluribus every week. So as much of a downer as the rest of the world is, and as much of a downer as Carol can be, we don't get tired of talking about this. And so tonight, we're on episode 5. It's called Got Milk. And so full spoilers if you have not checked out this episode of television. So, I mean, again, just like another banger, in my opinion. Like, bangers don't have to, like, it's what you end up walking away from an episode, like, depending on if it was action or just writing or whatever. And this one, again, came out with a story that was eventual. Like, I mean, this was we were going to get. I've asked this to us in these videos before of like, what was it going to take? Like, where's their line? What's it going to be? What's the breaking point? Like, when they are tired of her shit, what's going to happen? And we got our answer this week.
Yeah. An interesting defense mechanism for a hive mind that can't really say no and can't really lie and constantly wants to please, how does it protect itself if threatened? And this was a really interesting choice to just abandon. Well, mostly abandon, except by message.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just gonna bring it up right now because I put him in the background here. Patrick Fabian is our message on the other end of the phone this week. Such a great touch. And it's just Patrick's way of speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Just hits that message just right. Even when they do the second one, it's nice to know that there's that guy at the other end, like taking that message, and just that repetition.
Well, yeah, I mean, really has to nail that and keep underlining the situation all the time. And he was able to do that, to really like almost dig it in deeper with each repetition, even though his voice couldn't change. It was a great delivery.
So just overall, I guess, because we don't really ask each other this when we just start talking now.
Yeah.
What did you think of this episode? I should do that. Like, that's what normal people do.
Well, you know, again, I liked it. And it was like last week's episode in a way that you're right. It's not plot thick. It's not plot heavy. There are things that happen, and I don't even know how much of it's really character. I mean, except that really has to fill in all of the empty spots, but it is such a patient way of dealing with this, but still keeping us engaged. I mean, that's one thing. It's like not a lot happens this episode. Like last week's episode, not a whole lot happens, but actually a whole lot does happen. You know, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot of ideas, and it lets them sit with you for a little while, so you can kind of like, you know, roast in those ideas, kind of like how Carol is. And it's, you know, it's an interesting thing. And we're in a fast-paced society, and very often it's like, get the story going, tell us the thing, get us the movies, or give us the emotion, or give us, you know, feed something new. And it's really different to have a show that is so patient with its storytelling, but doesn't feel like it drags at any point, that you're still like just soaking in all of these moments. And I think that really underscored what was going on with this week's episode. Plus, it did have its detective stuff. We are figuring some more things out. Stuff is moving forward. It's just in kind of the way that a person would have to figure this out if they weren't a CSA, crime scene, FBI, you know, top of their class person who's always the lead of every other show. And I kind of love them for that.
Yeah.
What did you think? What did you take off this one?
This one hits me because you know how I like anybody. If you guys don't know by now about how I am on my channel and how I talk about things, I mean, it's gonna get there right now, like how I look at things, which is by making things like finding things that are relatable. And this one really hit me where I live because she, as a person, clearly has a history with pushing everyone away. Somehow, Helen was the one that couldn't be pushed away. And that makes her special. It makes her that diamond in the rough, the one in a million for someone who might, you know, as normal looking as Carol is, Carol is not normal. But who is? Right? I think we're all our own little private freak shows. And we all are looking for that connection of the others who can see our freak show and be like, I can still work with this, you know, like this can still meld with my freak show, you know, that kind of thing. And so to have somebody who's like, because again, made me think about this like a lot was just, I spent whatever, you know, circumstances that, you know, I could get into now, but I'm not, about my life. And a lot of people who know this channel, again, know about my life and how I spend I still do it. If I'm being really honest, I still push people away. Not as hard as I used to, but I saw this kind of thing where it was like in her and what she does, and now a whole city full of people. But it's not just that whole city. Since it's the whole city is everyone in the entire world. The whole world decided to move away from her. And you can't really blame them. No. Like I've said, like about myself, is you'll push people, and you'll know you're doing it because you want them. It's like there's a part of her, I think, that wants to feel right about pushing people away. She wants people to prove her right by how she acts. And it's the same way that I would do it, which was deep down, you just want somebody to say they're sorry or whatever, and they're not doing it. So you double and triple down until eventually those people who are probably trying in their own way cannot any longer with you. And then this happens.
Yep.
This is Carol's version of that with them. Except she's killed people. And now she made the whole world cry after drugging someone for the truth. Now, again, because this show makes things difficult. On the one hand, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But if they're bad, who cares?
True.
But as a rule, we don't do this to each other. Not just the drugging part, but the emotional manipulation and all this stuff of how to be, the social contract that we all have with each other, or should. I mean, we want to go back to something. Let's go back to treating each other with that social contract involved, meaning if they're not bothering you, don't bother them, you know? And more than that. But
and you can get into an interesting actual moral question with that is like, yeah, that is not something. Drugging someone and holding them down and to try and extract information is not something that we would think is a morally right thing to do. Yet in these circumstances, it is. And it's kind of interesting how that's sort of thrown in the face the first thing when she gets the call up saying, "You made my kid cry. What is wrong with you?" You know, it's a throwback of like, why would you think that it's morally okay to do that to my kids since they're all connected? And again, it doesn't answer anything. It doesn't say this is way or this is right. It's just that it's posing all of these questions of where do we draw the lines as individuals, as characters? Where do we understand? Is it just because Carol's the protagonist and thus we're following her story? Or is she going to hit a point where we go, maybe that was taken a little too far? So it's just it's interesting how it lets us play with those ideas.
Yeah. And it by also like, I mean, because it's like how many, if we're really saving the world, if we're really trying to take back our planet, how many lives is that worth? Like all these people that have died so far, they probably don't even register. They probably didn't even register anymore as themselves. We don't know. Maybe they did. And then that'd be terrible of a bunch of people just being snuffed out. It's always I made it sound like there's a caveat there or something, but I don't know, like, as far as like her taking people out and knowing what she's capable of, because I mean, she threatens that in this episode.
Sure.
As she gets more and like as with that whole pushing away people thing also comes what she does in here, which is that passive aggressive way of dealing with it, where she suddenly starts saying things like, oh yeah, whatever, like no big deal, like knowing like if it wasn't a big deal, you wouldn't have to bring it up.
Yeah, exactly.
All the little digs, all the little things. I won't be there. I won't watch. Meanwhile, she's standing right there, waiting to be seen again.
Well, like you
and
said,
just-
she's pushing everyone away. She finally gets what she wants.
yes.
And now the first thing she is like, she can't stay off the phone. She can't not have that contact, actually.
Yep. So it's this vicious cycle of horribleness that you do, where you create the situation, usually yourself. You could fix it and you don't. And then you just keep pushing because you are waiting for people to come to some conclusion that isn't reasonable. Like, so there you end up, except in this case, like we said, she wanted to get the right information out there. She wanted to find out what normal person would want to find out is, how do we reverse this? Now I thought it was interesting though that instead of like breaking down shaking, right, they all start crying over this. Like, what is causing their tears by this question?
You know, that's a good question, actually. And again, I think it's that, how do you override a system? How does a system fight back that has the limitations that this one does? You know, can't fight you, can't stop you, can't grab you, can't do anything to you. How, you know, it's only real fight is emotion. And I think perhaps the tears is that one kind of collective, sad, regrettive, how do we express that this is a violation to us? How do we get you to stop when there is literally nothing we can do to you? You know, we have to ask you to be able to cut off the handcuffs that's cuffed you to the body so we can take away. I mean, they are so incredibly limited by that. I think that's just it's like sole emotional response that it has is to pull at your heartstrings, in effect. You are crushing us, Carol. Stop, please. You know, to find some way to emotionally drive you. That would really be my only kind of guess. It's like, what tools do we have left in the toolbox that can't, since we have nothing offensive?
Yeah. No, you're probably right. That makes sense. Also, don't want to forget about the chat here with Rena and Bill here.
Hi, Rena and Bill.
Yeah. So I need a break from you. Bye. Yep. Again. And you know, and that's the thing, is that's like that whole dropping of people. Like it's terrible to have it done to you, and it's horrible to do it yourself. It's a terrible shut. It's something that, again, that I learned through like my old religion, the shunning thing. It was real easy to shut down on people.
I thought about you a lot when I was watching all of this. I was like, oh, it's the whole shunning aspect. We're not gonna stay away.
Yeah. And Bill says, can't lie, needs to help you, doesn't want to die. Yep. So its reaction being like, it's just, please, Carol, like at that point, like, and just when I guess everyone is feeling that emotion, then it would just turn into like a sea of tears, like a world of tears.
Well, even more as I'm thinking about it, you know what? In a way, as this is a completely non-violent interaction, this is a show that ultimately boils down to emotional manipulation. That's the only way to fight back and forth, is emotional manipulation. If Carol gets too mad and too weird that it like can kill them, they can't hurt her, so they could just make her feel sad or shun her. This is gonna be a real like mental twist up show right here. I'm going to dive into this more as we get into further episodes, because I'm curious how much that's going to underscore all of the back and forth between the Carol versus the Hive.
Well, yeah, and just they waited for her to be asleep. They literally had the guy looking in the window, and then they just all turn and walk away. And that was interesting. I didn't catch this the first time around, but I mean, it was the entire hospital. And I knew that, but I didn't know it. I didn't really think about it, but everyone was moved, including all the patients.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about, like, that's what they were willing to do. Was we can't be, she is a liability, not just with her ideas of being away from, wanting to counter what our biological imperative is, but she gets upset, she kills us. She now has made us all cry and drugged us. So, like, in a normal situation, this is absolutely, like, more than reasonable to get the hell away from that kind of person.
Sure.
Except, what if the only reason you're really moving away is because she is actually dangerous to you? I mean, if she really wanted to ruin everything, she would just start screaming nonstop, just complete rant tirade, like Dennis Leary, couple of minutes on MTV in the early 90s rants, okay? Like,
Sure.
she could kill like half the planet just getting pissed off.
But again, not if they're not anywhere near her.
Exactly. So
and they won't even talk with her on the phone. They won't take a message. They won't go back because they can't. It is so much of a disconnect there. Well, you're right. Emotionally, that's what you would do if you were treated that way. But on the other hand, you're right. It's their defensive nature. Build a wall of separation between the two sides.
So while leaving her, to also realize no man is an island, that kind of thing. You want your garbage picked up? Okay. You need this? Okay. And again, I just love that. I know she was waiting for someone, and then they bring a drone, and it doesn't stop her. She's still going to stand there. Like, I know that you still see me.
Yeah.
You will see me, even though I have done everything I can to. And again, it's just, I'm watching this mirror of, like, what would I do if I was in this? And I'd be fucking Carol. Unfortunately, I would be Carol.
Oh yeah. Defiant all the way.
And I don't like that, though. And part of me, I mean, in this, if Carol's right, then you're right. But it still doesn't mean you're not an asshole. Or it's like, you know what I mean? Like, we like forgive ourselves of these things because, hey man, we're quirky or whatever, and people like us, and most of the time we're fine. And then there's times where we are just this same way. I especially loved her watching and just seeing the poor drone. I don't even know what poor drone. It's not alive, but just watching the garbage just get strung up and dropped into the street. It's just perfect. And like her having to be self-reliant and deal with this problem, and then deal with the wolves is a weird part of this.
Sure.
Because I feel like it's trying to say something, and yet it's also just nature.
Well, I mean, yeah, in a way, it is the encroachment of nature and the reliance of society in order to defend against that, because the thing that she doesn't have to deal with is coyotes. Man, it's Southwest here, LA, New Mexico, Arizona, coyotes, they are everywhere. Okay. Pack animals come in. We see them up and down the road. They walk up and down the road at night, and my dogs are always going nuts and seeing them. So when there is plenty of trash, they are distracted by that. She is finding out that without all of these other people, without the rest of society, she is the last source of food in the area. because there's no other garbage that's going to pull them in. And all of a sudden, again, she wants to push away everyone so much. Now she's seeing like, oh, but I need them even if I don't think I want them. So yeah, I think that is really symbolic with just the encroachment of nature if you don't fight it back, which she does when she does the whole paving incident in the cars and everything else. So yeah, I think that's sort of how I saw that. But again, also living in the Southwest, I know what happens with coyotes.
And I actually had to look it up that there are gray wolves in New Mexico.
Okay.
These were wolves.
No, they looked like wolves. I was seeing coyotes, so I was just like, did they, cast them wrong? Because these look like
maybe they were
bigger dogs,
interspersed. Maybe they were working together. I don't know, but those were wolves in her front yard. And I guess there's a very small population, but again, like you said, if you're the only game in town. And I love that. Yeah, this is just that extra bit of isolation, but then it's also, like wolves are part of a pack. She's a lone wolf. She's packless. The metaphor there of that and isolation, all those things. And again, I love that's such good writing when they come at it. Well, they were some kind of wolf mix. I don't know if they I know that I've had family members who have dogs that are like part wolf. Yeah, but they looked like the kind of dogs. Oh, you know what they looked like? They kind of looked like a bit more like the huskies in the thing.
Yeah. Well, and I've got huskies. And the purebred, she's about the size of a coyote, which is not as big as you think that it is. And the same with my dog. In my mind, my dog's always bigger than she actually seems to, but that's when they get the multiples around and they're healthy looking, which these ones definitely were. Yeah, they're a little scary. And I love the fact that they didn't do the standard, oh, I make a noise and scare them off. This was a pack that was like, oh no, we're laying claim to this area. You leave. Which, I thought was a great, since again, there is so much of that emotional back and forth between her and the hive to actually have like an actual physical threat, an actual danger in that moment for Carol. I thought was a great shift to give to us.
And to take that power back by slamming the police car into the backyard and all the sirens and everything going. And the reveal that the keys are like right.
Oh, that button.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's the. Oh yeah, it's just fantastic. And so but also it's a nice reality of nature, of like leaving somebody buried in your backyard. And now she can, properly do something with it, make a real burial, solve her own problem. She is good at this. That wasn't like an incompetent scene or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like she's doing
what needs to be done in a way that makes it look like how one of us would handle it if we had to step up and, could in those circumstances.
And I guess right. The main last part really is the mystery that she goes into, where it deals with her first making a video to the other 12 people. I love watching this again just before we went on and seeing what I didn't notice the first time through, which was the first thing she makes. She just does a one take and she just sends it out. It's all she over prepares. She's sitting there and then, but it starts to, fall apart. And then she's still it's a relatable thing because of what we do here. And
I was going to say, sometimes you're like, so we can't. Yeah. Sometimes you just want to get things out, folks.
Yep. Or you need to press, it's too late. And you're like, if you're doing a live stream, it's already out there. So you can't just press pause and be like, we can edit that, right? So I loved how that progressed into another tirade, and then she stops and
Right.
goes back and starts over again. Like, that might not be the best part, but this is where our mystery comes in, where, she's talking about how she basically knows that we can undo the situation. I was practically told, and then in there, she's also talking about they abandoned me, whatever, like, yada yada yada. Good luck, Godspeed. Like, she's she is not a she's not a trained public speaker.
Yeah.
But the second one, and this was weird. This was weird. I'll say this because it just feels like a little like, oh, like she just kind of happens on it. The whole milk thing, she just kind of happens on because she's working on the recycling thing. She's working on the garbages, and so through the garbage, she finds the milk. Like, that's just so much thought going into everything. Like, she has this problem, which equals a way to get to plot points.
Yeah.
When you can link basically nothing stuff into becoming something that connects two things, you are gifted writers. Oh my gosh.
Well, and again, in a believable way, where this character, again, it's the payoff for that kind of slower movement with stuff is because this is just a person doing things.
Yeah.
And then while they're doing this one thing, what they have to do because of this other crap that they had to deal with and blah, blah, frustration. Oh, then they notice it. And that's, the inciting moment that, draws us forward. But it feels completely natural.
That was the moment where all of a sudden we gotta, there's an actual mystery going on. Something to figure out. Something more than just the character dealing with the isolation part of this episode. Something that moves the plot forward for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And is like, okay, so what is the deal with whatever it is they're drinking? And it leads though to even more stuff. Like, just when you think that she's looked into it enough, she finds another level just in this episode. So you find the milk cartons in the trash.
Right.
Which makes you go, okay. In her brain, that's all that's in here. Let's go check a dumpster full of it. And then that leads you to getting in the dumpster and seeing that it comes from Duke City Dairy Company, local, which leads you to go to the Duke City. Like that's a lot of steps, and they do it in such simple ways of if you even storyboarded this, you'd just be like, can, dumpster. It's the same way they even started this show with how they delivered the information to us.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're going without dialogue.
No, again, it's and it's a visual medium. That's all you have to say. She's dealing with her trash. She's got to pull up, and that's weird. The only thing in here is there's a bunch of milk cartons. That's kind of odd. Not even a soda can. Same thing in the trash. Same in the other trash. And yeah, all you have to do is that quizzical look that we all would do in the same circumstances. And you're right. Trash can, other trash can, larger dumpster. Zoom in on the label. She's got nothing else to do. She's looking for answers. Of course, that's the next place that she's going to go.
Cut right to the dairy farm, cut right to everything, cut right to her finding the thing. It's just so well edited, and it is delivering, again, the story without dialogue, and we all get it. Including the only part that I don't get, though, is the thing that I guess nobody knows yet, and that is what's in the bags.
Sure.
Now, I immediately went to it's dead bodies.
Yeah, of course. It's people. It's Soylent Green.
It's Soylent Green, yeah. And I was like, then this show can be that. It gets to do that too. But I don't know. I don't know. And that's the great thing is it can be anything right now. You know what I mean? But whatever it is, they're drinking it. And that's all they're drinking. And I thought we were going to get it in this episode where we saw everybody leaving, but we still don't know where they go.
No. I know. I really like, what is this?
Again, if you're married, right? If you have kids, are you with them? Do you somehow still reunite at the end of the day? Are your kids in like Afghanistan and you're here? Like, it just
No.
do they just fall where they fall? Like, do you?
I mean,
It's like finding a vampire lair, you know? Like, do they sleep in a pile for warmth?
Yeah, because the first thing would be like, yeah, it's made with people, and it's a boiled down basic nutrient to keep the people alive, but they won't kill. All right. However, will they self-die, though? Because you're right. There doesn't seem to be real individuality. In fact, that individuality seems to be sneaking away slowly. Or at least we were talking about that last week, is how long it took for the bicycle rider to kind of acknowledge that he was an individual at some point. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. And I mean, you're right. We haven't seen any fields. We haven't seen any food processing or anything like that. And that might be the big reveal they're holding for, is like, what does an actual hive look like? You know, what does it look like when you're in the middle of a Borg cube city that these automatons are living in? I don't know, but again, it leaves us in a great spot because we're like, it's horrible. It's got to be something bad. Why do we have to wait a week? Or in this.
Sorry. No, but at least, well, I didn't even know that this episode had dropped on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it until last night because I had no reason to look. So we'll be back on Friday, next December 5th,
right,
episode 6. So yeah, we just need to figure out then what's in that powder, but then also with the bag. So she gets the bag that has the powder with the barcode that sends her to her Sprouts, that sends her down into the grocery aisles to try to find something comparable, finds the dog bag, finds the address to the company, again, local, convenient.
Sure.
But whatever reason, it would have still been compelling if she was like, she has to go to like Idaho or something, she'd be going to Idaho.
Oh, she totally would be.
And she'd be like, and then there could have been but that's a whole unnecessary thing to do. So just make it local so we save time on the story. We don't need a whole episode where she goes all the way to Idaho and meets some people from Idaho. The story doesn't need that. So it knows how to like trim that kind of fat story-wise and just go, screw it, local bag company. Where we find out that it's a big freezer, like a cache of sorts, probably one of many, not probably, definitely one of many caches across the city or the world where they're storing food at low temperatures to keep longer. Which makes you go, okay, that's smart. But then, like, if all you're doing is drinking your not milk, maybe again, are they eating? We don't know. Like, and if they aren't eating, who's that food for? And
it doesn't seem to be a balanced meal. Looking like you're getting all of your fibers and vitamins, or I don't know. So it's like, is it just to gas you for a certain length of time? people start falling off, and as those people die, are they recycled back into things? I mean, yeah, it is kind of interesting because look, I mean, we don't have Star Trek meal cubes, okay? We can't just have a couple of bites and that gives us all of our stuff. Maybe that's what this is supposed to be, but I don't know how sustaining this is. Is this putting a limit on stuff? And you're right. And if it ends up being all Soylent Green, it's made with people, there's a further motivation for Carol because she literally does have to save the human race.
Bill says maybe it's something really weird, like they're eating books. But also says
knowledge is the true. Yeah.
1/10 of the people on the planet died. That's a lot of bodies.
True.
If the people are already dead, they didn't kill them. Still, it's like Louis C.K. He didn't break any laws. It's just unseemly.
It's like, yeah, but that's not sustainable. That's a limited food source.
It's just like a crunchy powder. Yes, it felt like it didn't. I wanted to say ashes, but the crows were eating it or getting into it. What did the crows want? Like, why would there be crows or ravens digging into nothing? It's got to have some kind of nutritional value.
Sure.
Enough to bring in crows. I don't know. Maybe that was just
sweet. I love that. And this is again, small thing. I love that she never tastes it.
Oh, I know, right? She wants to.
It's like, it feels the stuff, but she said never put, because it's like, yeah, you don't know if that's poison. That would be like concentrated heroin. You don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, the crows were doing it, but you're not trusting crows. I think that tells us, you're right, as an audience, like, well, I don't think this is deadly. We didn't see bodies of crows around it. And obviously they drank it, but anyway, it's just one of those small things like, yeah, of course she hasn't tasted it yet. That would be weird.
Rena brings up a really great message there that I do believe she's right about. I heard that in episode 2 or 3, the dead bodies were getting gathered by a dairy truck. I didn't go back and look. And you know what? I think you're right. I think I remember the Duke City label on something.
Okay. Yeah.
Misremembering too, but I could easily go back and check, and we can bring that up next week, no matter what, to see whether that was a right thing or not.
Yeah, good catch, Rita. Because now that you're doing it, I'm like, yeah, I think that does sound familiar. But now, am I just putting that there because it does make so much sense, and I love the interconnectedness?
But also, what's going on, I think, as a story, right, is that each time we were put in a situation where you can see both sides of the story, as they're starting to possibly reveal the real motivations behind all of this, as we see what really is a person anymore, what is their goals, how do they operate, like what with the lies, with this, they can't do that, they can't kill. But each time they're adding something more nefarious, possibly, that make you go, well, there's, like, well, if it's Soylent Green, everything she's doing is right. You know what I mean? Like, they're adding a bit more to the dangerous side of, like, she's probably right about some stuff. So it just keeps making it harder to side with all the happy people standing in front of you, knowing that they're everyone. And that, I mean, talk about stakes. This is like one woman trying to literally save every human being on the planet because of the connection.
When the only other people that might be a resource or an ally all want nothing to do with her. I mean, that extra level of frustration, like, God, even of the handful of people that I might be able to connect with, I don't have anyone to connect with.
Yeah,
I mean, because pushing them away anyway.
I mean, if you look at people, how people are, how the human race has behaved and acted and affected and taken up things out of what they think is some kind of necessity. I mean, it's like it's already like a religion for like it's like religion. You know, people will just go along because, oh, isn't that great? And I don't have to think about it. It's all taken care of now. It's out of my hands. I can just fall back into the hive and everything is fine and all is
I
great.
don't have to
all
worry or
together.
make any
Like,
choices.
kind of like what they talk about heaven is, right? Heaven's everybody that you've ever loved. They're all there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's basically heaven sounds like you're just in a disembodied consciousness that can somehow see and experience things without actually affecting anything.
Well, that's a lot of spiritual practice. The reason we're here on Earth is this is the only place that we can do things. Up there, you can watch and know it all, but you can't actually do anything. You only do things when you're down here on Earth, which, you know, it's kind of the trade-off.
Yeah.
You know,
especially when you know that nobody's up there looking.
Yeah. I wanted to mention before you had talked about when they when everybody had left the hospital. I don't know if you had noticed, especially in reflecting to how much Carol wants to be seen and feels the need to be seen. When she takes that nap at the hospital, her clothing is like the exact same colors and tone of the couch in the background. She basically just blends into the environment there. And then they all go, and then she spends the rest of the episode trying to be seen and be heard and be, you know, acknowledged. It was just kind of an interesting little choice when she was laying on the couch. I'm like,
a nuisance of I've got to get this, I've got to get that. She doesn't have to make it like garbage day doesn't have to be garbage day anymore. She could figure something out, but no.
She could throw it in the neighbor's garbage. Or what she eventually does is going down into town and getting rid of it there, which is where she finds the milk. But yeah.
Because I mean, have you seen The Last Man on Earth with Will Forte?
I have not seen that one. No.
Okay. It's just a lot of like, you know, where he puts his garbage and everything after a certain amount of time. It's just like, yeah, I don't think you needed to make it that big a deal. And that guy really was the last man. Well, no, he wasn't. But anyway, it's just funny how passive aggressively she was just acting out in all of this. Now, again, we get to the bag at the end. What did she see that made her go? I mean, look, what? Okay, the only other thing it could be to me, outside of being human parts, would be a fucking alien.
Yeah, because again, it's not. She's not confused. She's not fascinated. She's not perplexed. She's horrified. I mean, if I can, you know, give a label to her reaction. So yeah, it's hard to see of like, what would you see that would actually like freak you the fuck out? And to me, it's like, yeah, it's a people blender, you know, but I'm very dark that way. I don't know. Maybe it's a strawberry frate and she's deathly allergic to strawberries. But yeah, but I do. I mean, again, and I'm excited as I'm like, we're going to get an answer. You know, we thought we were going to get an answer last week and we did sort of, but it's spooning it out again. We got to do, she's got to deal with her emotional stuff and deal with the detective stuff. And each of those takes time.
So I'm just trying to think of some way that Vince Gilligan's going to try to have it not be human bodies, parts, or whatever. What else would, and that's the great thing about it, is that we can all think we know, but we don't.
And
don't
you're right.
know for sure. And even if it does turn out to just be people.
Yeah, I you know, it's like I want to be wrong.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, a little bit of a connective thing, but yeah, it's like you're right because that's the easy answer. It's the easy one to jump for, and thus I want to be wrong because I want to know what other thing that I didn't think of.
Exactly. I want it to be another mystery or not a mystery, but I just want it to be something better than that. But the way that they've been handling all of this and letting it be something obvious again, because every time the description of next week's video or episode is like her trying to convince, she has this new information. Now it's up to her to try to sell it. Up to her. She has to sell it. And if she can't sell herself, if she can't get you to because their preconceived notions about her aren't all wrong, and it will make getting them to listen to something that probably should be reasonable harder to digest.
Well, and I am really intrigued because she even brings it up in the recording is I don't even know if these messages are getting out. Are they doing what she asked and copying and sending them, even if they don't like the information? Or when they were following the drone on one of those, I was wondering if they were just dropping them in a pile out in the middle of the desert. I feel that they're tied to these rules where they have to, but we're also seeing that there are ways for them to get around those rules in certain ways. So I'm really curious because, like you said, the descriptor is she has to do it. Does that mean she can't count on them to make copies and send those copies off to people? Or maybe they do, but in a format that, you only have a DVD player. This is on a USB. Sorry. I did what I was told. Verbatim, like an evil genie.
And I think that pretty much says everything that we really need to say about this week.
Did you catch Rita in the chat? Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Rena. Bill just checked 443 of episode 2. Bodies are being loaded into a milk truck. Dun, dun, dun.
There we go. So, I mean, maybe it is being pretty straightforward with us if we just pay attention to the details. But again, if they are already dead, no, it's still nasty feeding people to people because it's efficient.
Prions, people. It's not
because
healthy for species to eat their own species.
We need, right? It's so there you go. Episode 5 got milk. Nope, got some weird human drink that looks like. I mean, I can't believe she didn't make a whiz joke because I mean that looked like whiz, and somebody who's really not hydrated either.
That's
it
desert
wasn't whiskey
pea.
colored. It wasn't whiskey colored, but it was kind of a long night of drinking. And the next day, like hard liquor. I don't know what I'm saying.
You need to be drinking more watercolor. Yeah.
So anyway, we will be back next week with episode 6. HDP, I think, is the episode title. I can't quite remember.
Maybe it's more
outside of that. Outside of that, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I'm sorry. I'm just perusing. I'm like, does it mean something scientific? I'm trying to rack my brain, but we'll find out next week.
Yeah. Well, there's always that's the delightful thing is knowing we have cool stuff to talk about outside of just that scene was really good, Darren. I really liked it. The action was fantastic. The character did the thing and said the thing, and it was just
I mean, we get to say that, but we also get to go into like meanderings of hints and things that they drop for us to actually think about. There's a lot of possibilities.
Hopefully by next week, Darren will also have his Pluribus shirt so we can get more into our one of us mentality as we continue to talk about this fantastic show. I'm taking a week off from Critical Role and Mighty Nine and gonna continue next week. Starting with, I'll be talking about episode 4 and 5 of Mighty Nine next week instead of just doing anything this week. and I'll be talking about Critical Role episode 7 and 8 next weekend. And then we've got the Outer Rim that we are putting out videos for every week
on Mondays.
So other than that, and any other weird shenanigans that we decide to get into, you'll all be the first to know. So thanks a lot. I'm Rob.
I'm Darrin.
And, that's Darrin. Hi, Darrin.
Hi.
And we'll see. Thanks everybody in the chat. We had a great chat tonight. I'm glad we got some extra information out of it. And yeah, I'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Ba 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 bum. Ba bum 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 bum.